Welcome to Peralta Matters. I'm your host, Jay Calhoun. Today's episode will be focusing on Berkeley City College from an administrative, faculty, and student perspective. Welcome to Peralta Matters.
First floor.
Marketing, sound design, my business. Berkeley City College has transformed my life.
Fifth floor.
My next stop, applying to UC Berkeley.
Berkeley City College transformed my life.
Second floor.
Berkeley City College got me out in the community.
I attended the PACE program, the Program for Adult College Education.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. We are now joined by Dr. Linda Berry, Vice President of Instruction at Berkeley City College. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Before we get into exactly what you do for Berkeley City College at this present time, let's talk a little bit about your experience with the Peralta Community College family since 1991, I take it?
That is correct. What would you like to know?
Let's say where you first started.
Well, I first started as English faculty at College of Alameda. I was hired in January of 1991 and was English faculty for 3 years. After that time, I was still faculty but hired as their Title III coordinator.
Oh, outstanding.
And then in 1997, I was appointed the Dean of Applied Arts and Sciences at College of Alameda.
Now, as the Dean of Applied Arts and Sciences, give us a brief overview of what your responsibilities are.
My responsibilities were budgeting, schedule management, program development, working very closely with faculty, making sure that essentially that they have and had what they needed as soon as they walked into the classroom to teach their classes.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it was great.
So from Dean, where'd you go from there?
From Dean, I was recruited to be Vice President of Instruction at Merritt College.
Outstanding.
In the same district.
Okay, all right. And as Vice President of Instruction at Merritt, coming from COA,
Yes.
were there any major differences, or is it kind of the same established understanding?
The biggest difference, well, actually there were two big differences.
Okay.
The difference that comes to mind right away is the footprint of the college, because Merritt College is on 125 acres.
Gotcha.
And College of Alameda is on a little island.
Right,
so
right.
that was a difference, because at College of Alameda you saw everyone at least once a day.
Gotcha.
At Merritt College you could go for 2 weeks without seeing people. The difference also was in the kind of work that I did. So a dean has a more narrow tunnel
Gotcha.
Focus of attention, and the vice president is responsible for everything that's
Understood.
instructional. So,
let's kind of piggyback into that.
Okay.
The responsibility or the job description of a vice president of instruction kind of encompasses not only the faculty and all that, but now, you know, even talking from COA to Merritt, the breadth of the campus and what's going on across the campus. You're not just dealing with faculty, but what faculty do to impact students, the student environment, the morale, all that. Talk a little bit about how those things are really important to Peralta.
So student success is at the forefront of everything that we do. So because the Vice President of Instruction is responsible for all instructional matters, certainly the grievances and the complaints come to his or her desk. But what's even more exciting than that, because that isn't really, we get to look at program development, and we get to do assessments. We get to work directly with faculty to see where we should be expanding curriculum, where we should be contracting curriculum, particularly in the state budget crisis. That there are areas where we really are forced to look at a particular instructional program and decide, is the student demand still there? Are there jobs out there in the industry for this program? The VP of Instruction is also what we call the ALO, the Accreditation Liaison Officer. And I'm sure, you know, accreditation is the big term now and is huge. But what I like to do is say we're not trying to adhere to accreditation standards. What we're trying to adhere to are the standards of excellence that make us an excellent community college, whether it's BCC or Merit or COA or Laney. Those standards of excellence drive us.
That's what I'm talking about. So now, you've done all that, and now, as of January, you are now the Vice President of Instruction at BCC. I
am.
Let's talk a little bit about what's going on at BCC now that you're there, and you're seeing, I mean, I'm sure you've already been aware because you've been in the system since '91, but you're actually physically on the campus. What are you seeing now?
Again, it's a very different experience. So I went from an island to the hills, and then I'm on a campus that is one building. And
in the middle
it's
of this.
In the middle of the city of Berkeley, where I happen to live. I live in Berkeley, and
How
so
convenient.
It's convenient, but it's also, now I'm tuned into the buzz. So because, and I'm sure you've been at BCC, but the classrooms and the offices surround this open atrium, and there's always this hum. The students are always there in the environment. They're talking, they're learning, they're mentoring one another. So I call it this energized buzz that's constant all day long and into the evening.
Do you attribute any of that with the social implications of Northern California, in particular Berkeley, 60s, 70s, on until now?
I'm not sure. I'm a little too new there, but I can say that some of the programs, like our Global Studies program and our Community Art program, certainly lend themselves to that. And then we have a Multimedia program that is so exceptional. It's probably, the most exceptional in the whole state. And the faculty are so energized. Now, the fact that we are all in this close proximity, and they can drop by and see me at any time when I'm in my office, that contributes to the buzz, but so can students, so can staff. And I think that just the footprint of the college, and someone said, and I don't remember who it was, but someone said that the environment that you're living in can really shape how you act, can shape behavior. So this environment, which is, you know, as I said, surrounding this open atrium, but we're all together, and it really encourages collegiality, it encourages collaboration. I suppose that if we didn't get along, it could encourage conflict, but we do get along, and shared governance is not just a phrase at BCC. It's how we do things every single day and how we make all decisions.
That's great. Talk a little bit about some of the programs that may be coming up, or some of the programs that you could say right now are the highlight of BCC.
So there are 3 areas in which we just recently enhanced or changed the curriculum, and that just went to board last night. So one of the areas is math. We know that there is not as good student success in the lower math courses as we would like. So our math faculty have taken a sequence of courses from basic arithmetic through intermediate algebra and modularized those. So now we have 20 half-unit modules, and the students can go through those modules at their own pace. We'll also do an assessment that shows where are the gaps. So they don't have to go through a whole sequence of courses if they have a gap in maybe solving linear equations. They can just, they can take that piece and then advance. And so we're looking at this as an accelerated curriculum. also district-wide, the ESL faculty have been working on taking the 6 levels of courses, condensing them to 4, so that ESL students can work more quickly through those courses, through that curriculum, and advance into the mainstream English courses.
Wow.
And then the third one is multimedia, which is so complex. I couldn't even tell you, there's at least 10 strands. So what the faculty have done is they've taken the strands and they have chunked the curriculum so that a student coming in doesn't look at 2 or 3 years worth of courses and say, I have to do all of this in sequence, but they can come in and take a 9-unit chunk and then go back into the workplace, because at least 45% of the students are in the workplace already.
Yeah. Those are great things and great programs. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a great education.
Okay,
I think
thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. And you guys should get more information at BCC. I want to thank Dr. Berry for coming on the show, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
We'll be back in a minute.
I signed up for this class because I've always been into making movies.
They were the closest college to me that had a decent multimedia department.
We have one of the biggest post-production courses in California.
I've taken sound design 1 and 2.
After Effects.
In the narrative script writing class.
Video production intensive.
All sorts of illustration, animation classes.
Directing for the camera.
And this summer I'll be taking the lighting class.
We do a good job of giving people a critical perspective, the technical tools, and encouraging them to make work.
As you can see, we have a lot of work to do, so gotta get back to work here at BCC.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. I am your host, Jay Calhoun. We are now joined by Chris Lebo-Planas, who is an instructor of English at Berkeley City College. Chris, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks.
Messed up your name there.
No, you didn't. Man.
Let's talk about, your time and length at Berkeley City College and what you've seen post or pre-new building and post-new building.
Okay, so I've been there since January of 2004. I moved here from Hawaii in 2003.
Ah,
so,
from Hawaii, welcome.
Yeah. So I've been there, I remember the old building.
Yeah.
And I remember when all of us English faculty, full-time and adjuncts, were all like in one small office that had, I think, 3 desks.
Wow.
But I remember the classrooms, you know, I remember the old building.
What do you say what would you say would be the major differences from old building to new building as far as working conditions for you all?
I think, well, they're more comfortable. I mean, we quickly filled that building.
Right on.
And actually, I spent a lot of my time in the annex teaching the cohort programs that I teach. But the thing that I like about the school is that the way it is now, the new building, it kind of has this like one building schoolhouse kind of vibe. I mean, I can, you know, I can run up to the 5th floor and get my stuff, run to my class on the 3rd floor,
You're not running across
floor,
campus, yeah.
go to the 4th floor, talk to somebody in admin. I mean, everything's close and it's cool. And there's just an energy there that's really, really great.
Before we get into that energy, let's talk a little bit about some of the actual things that you teach at Berkeley City College, in particular the Persist program.
Yeah, so I started out as an English faculty. I still am English faculty, and I still teach, the prep, comp, and reading class.
Excellent.
In 2008, I got involved in a curriculum called ACE, Academy for College Excellence, and we brought that model along with the Basic Skills Initiative. We brought that model over to Berkeley City College. So it's a 1-semester bridge semester program for students of disadvantage. And you know, early on teaching English, I kind of figured out that students that were basic skills level, what we call basic skills level, were oftentimes struggling with, you know, disadvantage or struggling with some other issues that had nothing to do with their ability or their raw ability. In fact, one of the things I like about the students that I have at Berkeley City College is that they come with some pretty deep problem-solving skills because they've had to problem solve. compared to, for a few years I taught at UC, and they could connect dots, quickly, but they couldn't always go deep. With the BCC students, you can go deep with them right away.
They start deep.
Yeah, you start deep, and it creates, I don't know, it creates a feeling. It's a stronger feeling for the students. But this bridge program is meant to walk them through college culture, try to let them have the skills that they need, which are not always, they're more like soft skills.
Yeah.
But it's not as simplified as that. It's really a lot of self-reflection, self-understanding of where they're coming from and what they need to do to succeed, and how to be their own advocate for their own education.
Right. I was going to ask you a little bit about some of those skills, but I think you just kind of touched on it, the ability to self-regulate oneself and the advocacy of oneself, but also kind of you talked off camera of how students are so apt to help one another.
Right.
But yet, when it comes to the self-internal or the internal help, they lose that motivation.
That's the thing. It's actually it's a thing that's kind of really endearing about a lot of the students. That they're so willing to help each other out. Oftentimes that comes at the expense of making sure that they finish out the semester well. So one thing we do try to tell students is that we give them the tools early on in a 2-week foundations course. And then we let them roll with what they've gotten in that foundations course through the semester as they take English and math and a research class. And we all work together because we all understand what's going on. We all understand this curriculum. We all work together to help them manage themselves, get through, manage themselves. Just yesterday I was telling a student that the best thing she can do is be her own advocate, because she's going to be able to help more people. She's like, I had to help my mom, I had to help so-and-so, and that's why I wasn't in class. I'm saying, I was trying to tell her, if you help yourself get through this, if you, if you can balance that and make yourself through, you're going to be in a much better position to help everybody else. But students, it's something they don't always feel in their body. They have to kind of go through a semester, maybe two, to get used to that. Yeah.
Dr. Berry was on, and she discussed a little bit about the morale, the environment at BCC being very energetic, being there's a buzz, so to speak. She spoke on it from an administrative position. As a faculty, as a person who we would say in the trenches, what would you, one, attribute that energy to, and what would you think it is?
I've been at BCC for a while, and I am an adjunct. But I tell you, there's always been this sense from everybody of really being advocates for the students, and that there's this just unspoken thing. People in financial aid, people in admissions, people on the 4th floor, everybody, 4th floor admin. People and faculty, knowing that there's some kind of mission. We're trying to get these students through. It's almost like an educational. We're trying to deal with an educational inequity in our society. Really.
Good analogy. Excellent. Yeah.
Really, it's really about that.
Yeah. But to take that seriously enough to create an environment to where the student, the administration, and the faculty are on one accord, to where, again, a layman coming off the street can walk into their campus and say, wow, how are you getting that? How are you achieving that level of buzz, so to speak?
So I think what happens, I think there are some, I've been lucky to be in the English department. The English department, it tends to be on the cutting edge of looking for ways to get students to stick, and get them to finish. And it starts with the reading, writing skills, and that's a lot of the gateway to the other stuff. But everybody else is working really hard too, because it's inspiring to go to the math department and people are trying to figure out how to get students through. Trying to figure it out. And it I think what's cool about it is people are willing to be humble. There are key people on campus that are willing to be humble and say, hey, we don't have it figured out. In other words, we're not just going to deliver something to people, and the people who don't get it fall by the wayside. We're trying to figure out how to get it to the people who need it the most, you know, and how to do that as best as we can, and continuing having a dialogue where, you know, the spirit of inquiry, that kind of spirit.
Excellent. Well, Chris, I applaud you and thank you for coming on the show, man. It's been a great. All right.
Thanks.
Thanks again.
Oh, sure.
We'll be right back in a second.
I borrow methods, techniques, and viewpoints from all the world's traditions.
I walk in the door and everything that was bugging me or all the thoughts that are always jumbling in my mind, they just stay outside. It's just nice to actually learn how to de-stress myself.
It's a tool to see how the mind works and then to utilize that tool to yield the best that life can offer.
I will leave the room and I will be very calm, and the whole tone of my experience calms down and everything seems to brighten up.
We can practice meditation under any circumstance whatsoever, to allow ourselves to accept things as they are, as it is.
Welcome back to Peralta Matters. I'm your host, Jay Calhoun. We are now joined by Connor Murphy, student body president at Berkeley City College. Connor, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, welcome.
All right. Before we get into your job as student body president and all that stuff, we kind of talked a little bit earlier. I want to discuss what the buzz of BCC is from a student's perspective.
All right. Well, when I went to BCC, I went there for about a month before I got involved in 2 programs. One was a club, the Civic Engagement Club, and one was a program called the Student Ambassadors, which both of those organizations were geared towards helping students, bettering education, all of that stuff. And the buzz really was just kind of, it's kind of there. You know, you walk onto campus, you're talking to students, and they're looking for opportunities to serve their communities, to better education, to, you know, to just get steps ahead and work towards this kind of better goal of education and bettering the future kind of a thing. It's crazy, you know. And I'm there for a month, and I started joining organizations. I started helping, and I felt this need pushed by, you know, these co-students, I suppose, to just to help everyone. And it was amazing because it was nice to have a common goal with everyone and to be working towards something.
The thematic thing we're getting not only from faculty but also from the faculty is that it's a collective spirit of all entities, student, faculty, administrator, working towards a better student environment, you know what I mean? And that's a rare, you know, something you can talk about in this country where actually everybody's working towards the betterment of one goal. So within that, what do you think makes you see your student government role now is a little bit more empowering versus the traditional understanding of student government means you're a student, you talk a little bit, but it really doesn't change anything? Do you feel like you have some actual input and actual say-so and actual course changing, administration changing based on your role as student government?
Yeah, you know, it was really tough in the beginning because there's a lot of rules you got to follow. You know, you got to do Brown Act and Robert's Rules of Order. You know, posting agendas and stuff like that. It gets crazy with all the all the state rules and everything. But once we figured it all out, this drive by the student body and everyone who was on the student council to just, you know, better all of the systems at BCC, make students more engaged, do all of this work. It was really empowering, and it was hard. It's like a train, you know. I couldn't stop it. I just had to get on and go with it, you know.
Right on. What do you think is the major fuel to the fire at BCC for the students?
You know, I honestly think it's the proximity of UC Berkeley. It's this constant reminder that there's higher education out there, and every second that you're stepping inside BCC, you need to be working towards that higher education, and you need to be working towards the betterment of yourself and the betterment of society. And it's just this general feel that you got in Berkeley when you're there. People are always talking about politics, you know, what's going on in current affairs of the state and everything like that. And there's just this constant drive to better yourself as a student and to better society as a whole together. It's really awesome.
Good concept. Let's discuss a little bit of your personal drive and desire to be student body president? How did that come about?
Well, I've always liked to kind of help people. It's just been one of my things. You know, it's my father has always told me, you know, society before self kind of a thing. You really got to push yourself. And when I was a student ambassador, I saw that I was putting a Band-Aid on the issue, but I saw student government as really the vehicle to put the stitches in, if I'm going to continue along that metaphor. Right. But yeah, I don't know. I worked with the previous student government, the one before I came in, and it kind of inspired me to work more cohesively with students and kind of bring everyone together, faculty, staff, and everyone to just kind of work on the problems that students were facing.
Yeah. One of the major cries I hear most student political activists say is the main thing is letting people know, getting the word out that student involvement is so paramount. Is that kind of the same thrust or drive that you would have to have?
Yeah, it's really tough because, you know, I may have been student body president, but I still had to go up every day around BCC and say, hey, I'm Connor Murphy, I'm your student body president. A lot of students just don't know, and you know, you got to work towards educating everyone at BCC so that they tell their friends, you know, and the information spreads, and it's really important. And every day you have to work towards that, and you can't give up.
What would be, as student body president now, we're into the thick of it all, what would be your projected goals for BCC as a student body president?
Well, my goals were to fix issues that I saw with financial aid counseling and stuff like that, and I didn't get to do all of that because, I mean, issues are bigger than you. Than, you know, presidents promise something, they realize it's not.
So you didn't meet up all your obligations. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I didn't meet my political promises, so I totally understand now. But what I did do is I created a dialogue between faculty and students, and I really got students to start being involved. And just as an example of this, when I ran for student body president, we had a 7-member council out of 13 people. This upcoming year, there are 20 people running for elected office. So there's going to be a full council no matter what next year. And I think that starts them off on this right foot. They don't have to worry about, well, is this position going to be filled, is it not? They're already coming off of that. And I'm going to teach them all about Robert's Rules of Order and Brown Act and all that stuff, so they don't have to worry about the bureaucracy. They can start off, hit the ground running, and just deal with the issues, you know? I'm projecting that in a couple of years, BCC will really have their counseling department a lot more locked down. I think that it'll be a much more effective system. Right now, students are waiting for 3 or 4 hours, and that's been a large outcry to kind of stop that and get that more effective. I think that's going to be fixed by the student body presidents, and I think the administration are going to be a big part of that. I think that the financial aid issues and the other issues on campus can only really be fixed as a district-wide level. And I think that the push from all 4 campuses of Peralta are really going to help change all of the problems that we're facing.
That sounds good. Quickly, what would you say to prospective students coming into the BCC experience to be prepared for, to be ready for, to know? What would you say to them?
It's always an uphill battle, but education is ultimately going to better our society, and I think it's really important that you don't just stand and watch from the sidelines as other people fight the battle. I think it's really important to get involved, to start now, because it's one of the most rewarding experiences in your life, and maybe you won't accomplish everything that you want to accomplish, but you're going to get somewhere, and you're going to take another step forward to that bright future that we're all hoping for. That's what I would say to those students.
I like it. Here at Peralta Matters, we are showing you the community in community college. Thank you, Connor, for coming on the show, man. It's been great.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back in a few minutes. Thank you for watching Peralta Matters, and I also want to thank our guests from Berkeley City College. For any of our past episodes or present, please join us on YouTube at YouTube/Peralta TV. Until then, do something that matters.
Peralta TV, programs that matter. Peralta TV.